Okay, I just want to begin to speak on um about religion and about atheists trying to discredit the fact that my father exists. Um they will try to tell you that if God is so merciful, then why did slavery occur? Why do we go through so much turmoil as a people? And I just want to begin to say that slaves always were. Um that's just been the way that humans have been since the beginning of times. Um, that's just the way it is. Okay. God Himself has said many a times, I will turn these people into slaves, into your slaves, or He will refer to as, I will turn you and your people into slaves. Um, so this is not something that is just beginning, and we cannot even begin to put a race or a color on this. um, Race and color came about when people began to try to build their way back to heaven. And God realized that as one, man cannot be stopped. Um, they will do whatever they can to achieve their goal. And so what he did was he knocked that down, and he said he would then spread us amongst the world. What he meant by this is, I'm going to separate you by tongue and by distance. And what happens when you separate somebody by distance, you will turn into climate zones. Okay, after so much time, uh genetically, evolutionarily, your body will adapt to that surrounding. um the best case scenario is white people, because they are the most recently evolved race, because every other race was already per se here. The white race was made because of their environment, their climate change. They were black people. The Grimaldi, they moved up into the Caucasus Mountains, where they ran into a 10,000 year ice age. Now, when you run along come today in 2016, and you come along albino people, and you're looking at them and you're like, oh, this is a white person. Maybe you have a conversation with this person is absolutely black. Albinoism is just your genes, or they're basically doing whatever they want to do. If we continuously to put ourselves in a colder environment, that would literally, if the world froze over right now, and 10,000 years, they will the black race would really be over with, okay? Because our body would then begin to change to try to adapt into the cold weather, which means we don't need the pigmentation in our skin anymore, which means we don't need this nappy curly hair, which means we don't need this big broad nose, which means we don't need melanated skin, which means we don't need any of these things. And if you look into the white people, and you will see that albinos are the missing link between black and white people. What they don't want to tell you is that if albino people continuously have sex, albinos specifically, their children will come out black. Some of them will, some of them will be albino. And after so many generations, they will lose all pigmentation and become Caucasian. This is the missing link. They don't want you to know. White people fear, what white people truly fear is extinction. Okay? This is what they have tried to enslave you for. This is what they tried to kill you for, belittle you, down you for. They don't want to become extinct, because they understand that it's only a matter of time before they do. So in the meantime, while they're here, they're going to control, they're going to dominate, they're going to regulate everything around them, or they're going to try to. This is this is the world that we're living in now. Okay, you got white people love raw meat. What is the reason for this? The reason for this is because if you was living in a very cold situation, and these people have forgot to wash their ass, they forgot to cook, they forgot. That's why they love raw meat, because they wasn't cooking. They was eating this meat raw. They was eating it how it was. That's why they take the sushi, take it raw, eat it. Yum, good. Um, Give it to a nigga. Hell no, I don't want that shit. You got to put some fire to that. You got to heat that up, sizzle that a little bit. We need that cooked. Okay. This is why white people loves raw food so much, because of the condition that they grew up in the Caucasus Mountains. This is why their hair is long and cover their neck, because you need your neck covered in order to live in such an environment. Okay. Um, Religion, Jesus is not the man's name. It's very disrespectful to even to call the man Jesus. when his name was Yeshua. His father is Yahweh, W-H, uh, is it W-H-W, is it Y-H-W-H, or is something like that? I don't even know how to pronounce it. That's why I say Yahweh. But these are two separate entities. God himself came down, mixed himself with a human. You have Jesus. Jesus is the real living being who did live. His name was not Jesus. His name was Yeshua. Okay, we should automatically begin to discredit the name Jesus because it's not even real. Okay, okay. So now what we have to do is break down all the lies they have told us, and there is some truth to the Bible in which people will say that white people created this. They created their version of it. And yes, they did use it because it was said in the Bible that we would be held down in slavery, but it also said that we would be brought up out, and the people that held us down in slavery will also be turned into our slaves. So this is the part of the Bible they don't want you to know about. They don't want you to know that one day, the Lord will return. All those who are not on his side, he will slay. He will kill them. You have people sacrificing their souls out here. You have Michael Jackson, who's a corybant. You got Prince, who's a corybant. You got Young Thug, who's trying to become a corybant. If you don't know what a corybant is, you need to look that up. That is why Michael Jackson is the king of pop. Michael Jackson did not want to be the king of pop. Michael Jackson wanted to be a god. He was specifically told that he could not be God. What he could become was the king. He accepted that, the king of pop. Okay, Prince was also on that same level, but they chose Michael Jackson over Prince. So therefore, you always see Michael Jackson at the forefront. But if you look at Michael Jackson covers, he's always in some pedophilia stuff, because in order to worship the God that he worshiped, you have to be a male but with feminine tendencies. Okay, you can't be readily defined as a male. You know what I mean? Like just a straight male. You have to have homosexuality tendencies. You know what I'm saying? In order for you to worship this God, you must shriek when you do your music, which is why you will always hear Michael Jackson do his little hee hee and, grabbing on himself. You know what I'm saying? Grown men looking at this, watching you grab on yourself. Okay. Why is there so much homosexuality preferably available everywhere? You know what I mean? Because God himself has deemed this as not good. He has said that this is not the way of the Lord. This is not the way to heaven. People want to discredit the Father. That is the whole purpose. You have the atheists. That's why you have everybody trying to go against what was said. Because if the Father was here today and was still coming through burning bushes, people would be scared crapless. They would not do half the things that they do, half things they say they would never do. They would live out of fear of the Father. And he doesn't want you to live out of fear. He wants you to live where your heart wants to take you, where your mind wants to take you. He wants you to be what you are. Therefore, when it all comes said and done, when it's time to come judge, I don't know how it's going to play out, but he's going to know what you are because of your actions, because of what you did. You would put money and success over family, over life. God said, eat off the tree of life, because he wanted you to have an everlasting life. Instead, we chose to eat off the tree of knowledge because we wanted knowledge. And Satan knew he could trick you with knowledge. Okay, he cannot trick you with everlasting life. You would then eventually, through time, you would find out the truth. You know what I mean? And that's not where he wanted to go with this. Where he wanted to go was totally to take you down, and without you really knowing what was going on. Some of them know what's going on, and they will sacrifice willingly to have a good life, not knowing what's on the after end or the aftermath of that. And that is me saying that you should just look up Michael Jackson and Prince, and just understand that these